welcome back to my channel. I am Adorkable Rachel, and it's time once again for another episode of Rachel Reviews, so let's just hop into it. Well, I finally checked out the movie that so many people in Hollywood have been talking about, and a lot of people were insanely brave to go see. Mother, lowercase m, with an exclamation point for some reason. This is a movie that was directed by Darren Aronofsky, who also did Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan. Movies that, you know, you were stressing out the whole time you were watching them and you were itching with anticipation, wondering what in the world it was all leading up to. And I should have expected it, but that was this movie too. I honestly cannot remember the last time I was so stressed out watching a movie. Well, actually, probably Black Swan. The basic plot of this movie is that there's a husband and a wife, played by Javier, Bardem, and Jennifer Lawrence, living in this secluded house. The husband is a writer who's suffering from severe writer's block, and Lawrence is just trying to be a good little housewife and fix up the house. But then one day, a man, played by Herrick, comes along and just randomly stays the night. His wife, played by Pfeiffer, also joins them. And this is all very understandably unsettling for Jennifer Lawrence's character, because the husband is like just totally cool with this and lets them stay. As time goes on, more and more people come to the house and just start hanging out like it's no big deal. And the only thing that I'm gonna let myself say after that is that from there, it just continues to build and build and build, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat because people are not exactly acting normal in this movie. We know something's up, but we can't quite put our finger on it. Ugh, so frustrating. First things first, let's talk about the acting. The acting in this movie is really good. There was some really intense energy between the leads in this film. Javier Bardem is, as always, very intimidating and charming. And Jennifer Lawrence, it's very much her character's story, and you, throughout the entire thing from beginning to end, just feel her anxiety and her stress. And her reactions just feel so genuine and real. Like, this is exactly how I'm pretty sure you would react if people just started coming in and invading your home. We are not Javier Bardem in this story. I don't care who you are. People just randomly coming in and saying, yeah, I'm gonna do all this stuff here. I'm gonna do all this and this and this and this without any of your permission. No, you would feel violated. And Jennifer Lawrence does feel like someone who's constantly violated in this film. And violated is a strong word, because being stressed or just feeling like you're being picked on or feeling like people are bothering you, that's one thing. No, feeling violated, that's what it feels like throughout this whole film. You feel violated with her. One of the reasons that's so effective in this film is because there's a lot of handheld shots, a lot of which also come from J-Law's point of view or very close to her point of view, so it's very confusing and very real and very suspenseful, and it really feels like it's happening to you. I do know that there were a lot of really close-up shots in this film, you know, like this. Yeah, maybe it would have been beneficial to do more wide shots, but I'm gonna be really honest, I think the reason they do that is because they're trying to create that really close, tight, claustrophobic feeling, and for me personally, that really did work. Now, I went into this movie completely blind. All I saw was the trailer, which didn't reveal a whole lot except for giving me the idea that it's like a psychological thriller, but that in mind, this movie did have something that I was not expecting, and that's that it was a kind of artsy film. I was expecting this movie to be a thriller, but here's the thing. You keep expecting all these artsy pieces to kind of like come together and reveal itself and explain why this is all happening, but it's not that kind of movie. There will be some answers, but not in the way that you anticipate. What it comes down to, and again, I didn't know this going into the film, but it is one great big metaphor. A metaphor film. So didn't see that coming! And it can also be interpreted in a lot of different ways, depending on how you look at it. It kind of reminds me of the film Synecdoche, something like that, Synecdoche, New York, where there's a lot of different visual metaphors throughout the movie, and we just don't see that a lot in mainstream films. The third act in this movie, don't even get me started. You know when you really bottle up emotions and then you just try to stick it inside there where it won't come out, but then one day something just triggers you and you vomit it all over the place and there's no stopping it? Yep, that is exactly what the third act feels like. And I'm gonna lay it all down. You could be watching this film and think to yourself, okay, this is getting really weird and surreal. What of this is real? Is Jennifer Lawrence hallucinating? Is some of this in her head maybe? Well, you know, it's all real. Everything on the screen in this universe is real. And you know what? Now that you know that, it'll probably make the experience of watching this film all the more extreme. And it's interesting too, because while you're watching this film, there's a lot of talking going on, and it kind of feels like a play. I mean, the elements don't always make sense for a stage play, but just the interaction and the artsiness and how everything's played out, it just kind of feels like this was originally based on a stage production. You know, kind of like when you watch the movie Fences and it was totally obvious that that was originally a play. But Mother? No, it may feel like a play, but it's certainly not. It's just its own original thing. Also, there were still a lot of things that did bother me about this film. Although Jennifer Lawrence was great in this film, and this really doesn't have anything to do with her as an actor, it's more about her character. What I don't like about her character is that she constantly has all of these disruptions and people just coming into her house, and she doesn't really do anything about it. Other than say, hey, 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 stop it, hey. Stop! Stop! Frequently, throughout this entire film, I just wanted to say, hey, why don't you call 911? You have a phone in this house, use it! And then when she does call 911, she doesn't fall through. Bitch, what are you waiting for? There's also some stuff in this film that visually just kind of like really went over the edge to the point where I was like, okay, I really did not need to see that. And it's weird because I did expect to see blood or disturbing imagery of some kind, but this was a bit much, I think. I mean, you'll see what I mean if you decide to watch it. And again, you just keep hoping that somehow all of this will make sense in the end, but I think it was kind of meant to be confusing. Or just metaphorical. That works too, I guess. Like I said, it really kind of is up to interpretation. But going back to the positives, that is something that I really like about this film. It's getting people talking about it and discussing it and coming up with their own conclusions as to what it all means. And most movies, they do kind of hand you everything, and that's okay, but it's nice to have a movie come along where you have to think of your own interpretation. You really have to think about it, or talk about it with other people, or just sit in your own little puddle of confusion. Either way, it's a very, very memorable film because of that. Me personally, if you're up on your Bible knowledge, I think that a lot of it was meant to embody those kind of stories, and it also says a lot about human beings and religion. But like I said, there are a lot of ways to interpret it, and you're free to draw your own theories. So yes, it's an artsy film, and a lot of times it can be really intense. Not everyone is going to get this film, and it might even be a little too out there for some people. In fact, I won't blame people who say that they just don't get it. But me personally, this film left me confused and frustrated and terrified and even a little bit paranoid on the way home, and I loved every minute of it because of that. The third act did kind of throw me off a little bit because it just sped up and it got exhausting and I could hardly keep up with it, but thankfully there was also a little bit of time to calm down before the chaos kept going, so you were able to absorb it and just breathe a little. There's a lot of chaos in this film, and there's a lot of moments that will also probably make you feel really uncomfortable, but that's also kind of the fun of it. Displeasant things don't always work in films, but this film does it in a way that makes you think about it. Although I will admit, when everything does kind of wrap up at the end, there's a minute there where there's a kind of disconnect because you're just like, what? But again, that was going into it without knowing any metaphors, but now that you understand that there's metaphors, maybe it will make a little bit more sense. Kudos to the trailer for making us think that this was a suspenseful thriller, because it was just so much more than that. And I'm not gonna go into any more gritty spoiler details, because you know what? This is a film that you really have to see to believe. If you like films that push the envelope and make you wonder what it all means or drives conversation, then yes, this is definitely a movie for you. But if you want just like a straight up psychological thriller, I still think it's for you. So those are my thoughts on the film Mother. So now I want to know, did you get a chance to check it out? And if so, what did you think? Do you personally have your own conclusion as to how to interpret it? Did it throw you off too? Were you surprised by the different twists and turns that it took? Also, are there any films or shows or anything coming out that you want me to review? What are your thoughts? Well, go ahead and leave your comments below, be sure to like and share, and if you're new and like what you saw here, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and also be sure to hit the little bell button down there to get notified when new stuff comes out, because I make new videos every week! Bye, Adorkable buddies, I'll see you soon!